Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today is Saturday, April 27th, and this is my weekly wrap-up. First, I'm continuing my reading for fiction for the BookTube prize. This is the quarterfinals, and I've completed 4 of my 6 novels assigned in this group, and I've started on the 5th. So I'm feeling good about the pacing, and I'm in pretty good shape for finishing by the deadline. I'll talk about all 6 novels in this group when the judging wraps up in May. I've continued to support National Poetry Month and this week's Poetry Readathon 2024, hosted by Charlie Brooke Reads and Charles Heathcote. For the entire month of April, I have been posting poetry shorts, 1 a day, of a variety of poems. This week, I posted poems by William Shakespeare, Dorianne Locks, May Sarton, Lee Young Lee, and Rainer Maria Rilke. I read Shakespeare's sonnets for 4 days because this week marked the 460th birthday of William Shakespeare on April 23rd. I will be concluding these daily poetry readings on Tuesday, April 30th. And I want to thank you all who have watched these shorts and who have commented on them as well. I really appreciate your supporting this event. I did a Poetry Thursday episode this week on the contemporary poet Dorianne Locks. In preparation for that video, I reread an early collection by Laux, What We Carry, and I read for the first time her newest collection, which just came out in January, and that is Life on Earth, her newest collection. This newest collection is magnificent. While she has always been a poet who celebrates everyday life and ordinary things that we all encounter in our everyday life, that description does not do justice to her writing in this last volume. There are beautiful and deft poetic constructions in this latest volume. She is certainly taking on big themes in this book. She's writing about the deaths of loved ones. She's writing about assaults upon our planet. She's writing about events in American history, while continuing to look at everyday life. All of these things become the inspiration for the imagination and for the projection of her own memories. This latest collection is clearly the work of a mature poet who is reflecting on loss, the loss of loved ones, such as her mother and her sister, and on her own aging. She is also actively tuned into the natural world, to its beauty, and to the ways in which it is being threatened. And she writes in a style that is both conversational and rich in breathtaking metaphors. I'm continuing my reading of Melinda Lowe's novel, Last Night at the Telegraph Club, for the Read 24 in 2024 Banned Book Challenge that was created by the inspirational MJ at Reading This life. I was a little bit stalled in my reading of this novel this week, only by my determination to finish Les Miserables this week, which I have done. And now I'm back to the Telegraph Club, and I will report on that soon. So my big news for the week is that I have finished Victor Hugo's magnum opus, Les Miserables, which I have been reading with the Classics and Company read-along of this novel. And along with this novel, I've also been reading David Bellos, the novel of the century, The Extraordinary Adventure of Les Miserables. And this has been a wonderful companion to this incredible novel. I should also say that this read-along of Les Miserables is sponsored by Classics and Company, which is run by or founded by Micah Cummins and Anne Novella. And the discussion of this novel is being run by the delightful Elizabeth at Bookins and Books. I have been fairly immersed in the world of this novel for the past month. Much of my reading experience was quite incredible. I had never read this novel before. I have never seen any of the movies, nor have I seen the famous Broadway musical. I know, I am probably one of the few people in the world who can say that. So while I had some general ideas about the basic story, I really am one of a very few people around who was coming to this novel really with almost no preconceived notions about it, except that it may be the longest novel I've ever read at over 1,300 pages and over 1,400 pages if we count the endnotes. It is still hard for me, as I just finished it about 2 days ago. It's hard for me to get my head around this book. So expansive is the world of this novel. For the first 300 or 400 pages, I was astounded at how thoroughly engaged I was, at how totally immersed I was in the world of the novel. I was struck, too, by how accessible the prose was, which perhaps can be attributed to the fact that this happens to be an exceptional translation by Christine Donougher. But I felt like I was devouring this book, and I can't remember the last time that I had that experience with a novel. There is no simple way to talk about what this book is about. But in briefest terms, it is the story of Jean Valjean, who, at the novel's beginning, has been released from prison after serving 19 years for stealing a loaf of bread for his sister and her starving family. He is initially able to start a new life under a new name, and he appears to be leading a productive and a very successful life. He meets Fantine, a destitute woman who has resorted to the most desperate means to support herself and her daughter, Cosette. This child, Cosette, eventually comes to regard Jean Valjean as her father, as he rescues her from her dire circumstances and provides her with a new home, with protection, and with love. The novel takes us through the lives of these characters, but most especially we follow the life of Jean Valjean as he confronts at least 3 cataclysmic personal and moral crises. He repeatedly faces profound conflicts and obstacles in his efforts to lead a good and moral life, mostly as the result of his own earlier encounter with a truly righteous and even Christ-like figure, the Bishop Myriel, also referred to as Monseigneur Bienvenu. We experience with Valjean his repeated escapes from enemies pursuing him. We experience his repeated rising from the depths of despair, only to be plunged back into it again. We go into the depths of hell with him, symbolized magnificently by his arduous and back-breaking trek through the sewers of Paris, while carrying upon his back an almost dead man, Marius, who is also the love of his almost daughter, Cosette. The suspense of the novel is palpable. On some days, I would find that I was actually reading for 4 or 5 hours straight. I don't know when the last time something like this has happened to me. I don't know when the last time was that anything like this has happened in my adult life. The places where I stumbled were in some of the extremely long digressions that take us out of the story. Hundreds of pages on the Battle of Waterloo and on the uses of slang in French. These were difficult for me as a first-time reader of the novel, but perhaps better appreciated, I think, by those who have lived with this novel much longer than I have. However, by the time I reached the long digression on the sewer system of Paris, I had a better understanding of Hugo's style and even of his purpose in taking us into these horrible depths. I think I will revisit this novel again, a novel that is ultimately and most importantly about human suffering, moral duty, and redemption, and love. So that's it for this week. My next video will be about my plans for May and my hopes to participate in Horror Mayhem 2024 in a very tentative, just getting my toe in the water way, and also my participation in Mental Health May. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.